There are a couple of things before I start that I would like to apologize for in advance. The first is my American accent. While I am American, I've lived in the Czech Republic for 21 years. The second thing that I would like to apologize for is my completely ridiculous mustache. It's Movember. The thing that I wanted to talk to you about today has to do with something that actually was not even predicted during the drafting of the original MDGs and of the original plan. That has to do with the amazing explosion that's happened in the area of ICTs. And one of the things that I was actually going to start off with was by a statement that sort of explains a little bit about where we're coming from at Source Fabric, which is that open code is free speech, and it is a question of free speech. The creator of the software WordPress, how many of you are familiar with WordPress? Most, yeah, you guys are media development people, you guys use WordPress. The guy that wrote it, his name is Matt Mullenweg, and he likes to say that code is poetry. My mentor back in university was a guy who, by the name of Harry Rees, who said that poetry is news that stays news. And both of these things are absolutely true. And one extension of that, it wouldn't be a media panel if somebody didn't bring up Marshall McLuhan, right? So my favorite McLuhan quote is, "We shape our tools, thereafter they shape us." And this approach is actually extremely important because one of the things that we are going to start seeing is that we know in the technology business that what we're making is about to be obsolete. And so when they asked me, what do you think about after 2015? I'm like, I don't even know what I'm going to be doing after 2015 tonight. I have no idea. And what we do know, though, is that we will be obsolete. And one of the best ways that we can try to help enable the emerging ICT-based media is to make sure that the software platforms that they're using are open, that they're transparent, and that they're accessible. Homer Simpson likes to say about beer that beer is both the cause of and the solution for all of life's problems. And I would actually like to say that for media organizations, technology is an opportunity and a threat at the same time. If you're working for a traditional newspaper that doesn't have a very good website, then you of course are going to see the web as a really big threat. If you're in a media organization, however, that's very digital first and digital friendly, digital native, then you see these things as being opportunities. And both of these are absolutely true. And when we work with media organizations in developing countries, this is something that we really try to emphasize with them. To show that yes, there are threats to traditional business models, to your traditional distribution, but at the same time there are tremendous opportunities. And this is one of the areas that I think needs emphasis post-2015. We make a lot of different tools at Source Fabric, and one of the things that we're focusing on specifically is technology alone. We don't do business planning and this type of thing. We're focused specifically on technology. And we make, as my colleague was pointing out, we make a lot of these different tools for print, online, and broadcast media. Why support media? Well, this is actually something that both of my previous colleagues have set up here, that media is one of the ways that we can help to shape the debate about development in general. And I appreciate especially the differentiation between media for development and media development. They are two separate things, but they do go hand in hand. Somebody was asking me recently, well, so how do the tools that you're working on actually help to make an impact? And is there going to be any? Is a child going to eat any better with your tools? And the answer is probably not. But at least the people that are in the media organizations that are watching these issues, they can ask the questions about how the governance in their country is going and about how the progress is occurring or not. Open source. How many of you are familiar with this term, open source? A few, right? Okay, good. You're pretty with it, crowd. For those of you who are a little bit too shy to put your hand up, open source is a way of writing your programming code. It's a way of being radically transparent about what you make, so that when you're writing your programming, you actually are sharing it with other people. They can see it, they can download it, they can use it, and most importantly, they can change it for their own needs. In this way, this is, I think, a radical improvement in methodology for ICT related issues, because it shows, or it presents an opportunity for the organizations themselves to get involved in creating their own tools and adapting the tools for their own needs. Because the software doesn't come with license fees, it's also a lot less expensive to use. But most importantly, they are shaping the tools themselves. The users get to own the tools, and the users get to make the tools serve them better. And this is extremely important, because the tools that are made in Finland may not necessarily be the right tools for Mozambique. And if the Mozambicans can get in and change the code to their own needs, chances are this will be something that they will use more, and that they will actually use in a more effective way. It's also a question of knowledge transfer, because the know-how required for getting in and changing a programming code it's pretty high. But at the same time, you can do it, and there are ways, both online and in person, to help teach people about how to go in and take ownership and take possession of the software code that you use. I have a couple of examples. This is a project that we actually had the end of its first phase last week. Last week, the Mozambican elections occurred, and we work with a newspaper in Mozambique called A Verdade, and this is a free newspaper distributed throughout the country. It has a readership of about 400,000 people, tremendous pass-along readership. What they did during the elections, and what we did with them, was that we created a platform for citizen engagement during the elections. Now, the Mozambican elections, Mozambique does not have a great tradition of free and fair elections, unfortunately. And one of the things that we wanted to try to combat during this elections period with my partners at A Verdade was the culture of impunity that occurs, where people just thought that they could steal a ballot box, or to make various shenanigans take place. What we did was we created a system where people, if they saw something, they could SMS to a short code. This SMS was connected to a series of regional and local live blogs. And those live blogs were able then to get the news out, both to election observer organizations and other stakeholders in the process in real time. And that, I think, was one of the more interesting things about this, because it brought together citizens, NGOs working in election monitoring, and the media, all together in real time. And the elections website is still up. You can see it right now at the address that's up here. But what's also significant about this project is that all of the software code that we've made, we're making available. It's already up on a server called GitHub. So if you're familiar with GitHub, you can go and get this, and you can actually use it in other contexts. So for us, this is the creation of both a tool, but also a methodology for allowing citizen participation, increased citizen participation in elections. Now, we do a lot of other things in developed countries and in developing countries like Switzerland and Germany, places where they need a lot of assistance. But what we try to do as well is to create partnerships between the news media in developed countries with those in developing countries. And this is actually another very significant thing, because in my prediction, this period up to 2015 is when we're going to start to see some of Europe's leading media companies come into very difficult financial situations as well. We're about to see the emergence of a crisis, I hate the term, but for the media themselves. And so one of my own wishes for this process is that we start to take some of the best ideas that are coming from Nairobi, coming from Maputo, coming from Kuala Lumpur, and to bring them into the European media environment, because I am predicting that we will need the help here as well. So thank you. I'm looking forward to your input.